Well, hey guys, it's Tony from Tony Talks Cards, and today we're talking about one card specifically, but also a little bit of a reflection on the last 3 months, actually the last 5 months, and some life events that have come up that kind of reminded me when I started watching a lot of YouTube and sports card content, why I did that and hadn't done it before, and kind of how that, I guess, that event and kind of has led to me where I'm at right now. And so, kind of a look back. Nothing too card heavy, but I think it's important. And I think it's interesting to think about how life events, whether they be important or kind of mundane, um, can change or cause you to rethink parts of your collection, how you collect, when you collect, how crazy you get into it, how much you want to spend with it, or maybe not. Maybe you take some time off. And so I want to kind of think about that as I had some reminders just today about where I've been the last few months. So um, I won't rehash some of my first videos talking about where I came from and collecting story, but effectively I've been collecting since I was in grade school. And about 5, 6 months ago, I never watched YouTube, just watched YouTube really just for like, how do you fix this? Or how do you untie this thing? Or where's this in the car? And how do you change this? Like 5 minute videos, simple. Never for content, just watch TV, right? Netflix, things like that, videos, go to the movies, but never really thought of YouTube as a place to look for stuff like this or watch things for longer form, entertainment. And so what happened was that I'm of a lot of ages, a similar age to a lot of guys I seem to follow, at least on these channels, who are, let's just say 40 to 50, maybe some older, some younger. We all collected in the 80s or 90s, it feels like. And if you've been to a doctor recently and around 45, mid 40s, right, they say, hey, it's time for that colonoscopy. You see the commercials on TV, different ways to do it. That will not be part of this discussion, this video, but needless to say, it was my time to think about it. And so I did get that scheduled. And I went through and everything came back fine. But what they told me is that when you go home that same day, right, try not to do any work, right, don't make any big decisions. Now, I didn't feel that loopy or that out of it, but hey, a day off of work is a day off of work. I had pre-done some work beforehand. It wasn't too bad taking the day off. I work from home anyway. But yeah, did that. And around 8 a.m., I'm like, I'm kind of bored. I don't want to watch TV all day. Let's pull up the computer and look for card stuff, eBay, what have you. And I decided on that day I was home resting after my colonoscopy. This is like 6 months ago, to go into YouTube and type sports card collecting. Football cards, baseball cards, collections, what tops, football, things like that. And that was August. And so if I count the months from August to now, that's like 5 months. That's where I found all the channels that I now follow and started to get the ideas of, these guys have a lot of entertaining content. I'm learning a lot of stuff. I have some of the same cards. What would it be like for me as a not video creator person, not that creative in terms of this type of thing? Could I ever do it? Share pictures, share some thoughts, comments, questions, and do an actual channel. So that's what got me going. Was going to the doctor, having the colonoscopy, coming back the next day, being told to rest. And that's how I got into watching videos and got the bug to start doing this thing. And here we are at video number 40, believe it or not, here. So kind of crazy backstory there, but thank goodness everything's okay. Want to make sure that is good. And certainly if you are of that same age, similar age, definitely would encourage you to go talk to your doctor, get that checked out, make sure it's on your list of things to do. And then I think it's every 5 or 10 years you go back if things are okay. So I'll be on that schedule too going forward. But I also want to thank a few other content creators, channels much larger than my channel is now, been around for a lot more years than I've been around, the few months I've been around. When I was at home, I started subscribing, following content. A month later, hey, I actually reached out to a number of them and said, hey, I'm just some guy over here. I like what you're doing. How'd you get started? What video camera do you use? Is it just an iPhone? What microphone do you use? How do you create, post? How do you think about simple stuff that for these guys, doing it for 2, 3 or more years, it's like, yeah, I was there 10 years ago. It's pretty simple. So, but they were gracious enough to respond to me in email and even back and forth a couple times. And The first one I want to shout out specifically is a channel called Mike's Retro Trading Cards. It's a channel, three guys, I think, more or less lifelong card friends, and they chat about hobby, retro cards, the hobby, news stories, et cetera, et cetera. And they were the first channel I clicked on was them about 5 months ago. And I'll tell you, every time they pop up on a video, I watch it. I really love those guys, what they talk about. Interactions are great. A lot of good camaraderie there and good content. So thank you guys for helping me early on and inspiring me to do some of this stuff I'm doing right now in a very small space. Secondly, I want to talk and thank Greg over at Midlife Sports, Midlife Nation. He was gracious enough to email me back. I emailed him. He responded back a couple times with my questions on types of camera, microphone, how the setup is, and a much bigger channel than I am. But thank you, Greg, for doing that. Thanks for being responsive, and I appreciate your content a ton. Like I think 6,000 or more other people do already. So thank you for that too. You're always top of my watch list too. But then thirdly, it has kind of a twofold relation to my topic. My story here is that I found Mike Junkwax Hero also back in that same kind of August, September timeframe. Loved his content, emailed him directly. He got back to me a couple times as well with some of the same simple startup questions I was having. But I also want to shout out Mike's channel too, because I want to say in the last 6 months, one of the videos that I watched, I think he also must be around my same age, and he called out the same thing I'm calling out now. I think he mentioned going to get his colonoscopy, a screen, something like that. Mentioned, hey, go make sure you do that if you're around this age. Most of us guys are. So, him having a video on that, even a few, months ago, encouraged me now, even a few months later, to talk about this video too. So thank you, Mike at Junkwax Hero. Thank you, Mike at Mike's Retro Trading Cards, and thank you, Greg, over at Midlife Nation for doing that. Make sure you get checked out if you haven't already. And hey, I'm on video number 40. Hard to believe. Thank you all for subscribing and watching. And oh, my channel is Tony Talks Cards. So I can't leave this video without showing a card. And so I did find one a couple days ago. I forgot where I had it. It's a big card, but didn't know where I'd stored it. I want to show you this 1976 Payton. Now, I think if you watched an early video, I may have shown this already. I totally forgot, but I assume people who watch don't go back and watch all prior 39 videos and they're like, oh, you already did that, Tony. Do something different, right? I'm sure they probably haven't seen this yet. But this card, again, Bears my favorite team. Walter Payton, of course, one of the greatest ever on the Bears as well. Him and Gale Sayers, a great running back tandem there in different eras. But I got this card back in 1989 or 90 probably. It's got there you go. Oh, it's perfect. Look at that crease. It's got a nice little crease right down the kind of top to bottom there. Not going to get it graded. It's pretty nice centered. But picked this up from my dad. Had a friend he was working with, had a bunch of old cards when he was probably kid collecting. Hey, do you want these for $50? He bought them, sold them to me for $50. This was one of them. And so besides the crease, it's a great card. Never will sell it, but again, love the Bears, love Peyton. The channel is Tony Talks Cards. Had to at least get one card in here, right? So there you go. At the very end there, the Walter Payton rookie, 1976 tops. And again, thank you all for watching. I'll talk to you soon and have a great weekend. Today is Friday, January 17th. Have a great Friday. I'll see you soon. Bye.